The old Willow Creek Bridge had always been an object of intrigue for the small town of Millfield. Nestled between a dense thicket of trees and the murmurs of the creek below, the bridge seemed to morph with the seasons, its wooden planks aging under the sun's relentless gaze and the whispers of the winds. Although it had once been a vital passageway for the townsfolk, a series of unfortunate events had turned it into a feared relic, rumored to be haunted. It started a decade earlier when a group of teenagers had gone missing on a chilly autumn night. They had ventured out to challenge one another to cross the bridge, which was said to be cursed. They were never found, and their disappearance loomed over the town like a shadow, an unspeakable tragedy that turned the bridge into a ghostly threshold between the living and the unknown. Years passed, and while the adults in town warned their children to steer clear of the bridge, whispers of dares echoed among the youth. And so, one crisp October evening, a group of 4 friends, Clara, Jake, Emma, and Max, decided to confront their fears and explore the haunted area. Armed with flashlights and a sense of daring, they slipped through the trees, ignoring the chill that fluttered in the air, dismissing it as mere superstition. As they approached the bridge, they couldn't shake a feeling of unease. The wind howled, sending rustling leaves spiraling through the air, and for a moment, the moonlight seemed too bright, illuminating the structure too harshly. Clara's heart raced. "You sure we should be doing this?" she asked, glancing at her friends. Jake smirked, trying to appear brave. "Come on, it's just an old bridge. We'll just cross it, you'll see, it's all just stories." With a shaky breath, Clara followed the group onto the bridge. The wooden planks creaked underfoot, a testament to their age. As they moved further onto the bridge, a sharp chill sliced through the air, and the temperature seemed to drop precipitously. Clara shivered but pressed on, determined not to be the coward. Midway across, Emma suddenly stopped. "Did you hear that?" she whispered, gnawing on her lower lip. The others paused and strained their ears. The only sound was the rushing water below and the rustling of leaves. "I didn't hear anything," Max scoffed. "Let's keep going." Before Clara could protest, Jake stepped ahead, pushing his bravado further. "Nothing weird is going to happen. Look, I'll prove it." He began to sprint across the bridge, gleeful shouts echoing in the night. But as Jake reached the center, a loud thud reverberated through the air, and the bridge jolted, as if something had stirred beneath it. The lights from their flashlights flickered, and shadows crawled along the wooden beams. "Jake," Clara called. Suddenly, a ghastly echo erupted, a chilling wail that seemed to rise from the depths of the creek. The friends looked at each other, panic sweeping over their faces. The air grew heavier, thick with a presence that felt alive, or rather, not alive at all. Horrified, they turned toward Jake, who was staring down into the darkness below. "What's happening?" he stammered, his bravado seeming to evaporate with each passing moment. Then, laughter drifted through the air, hollow and twisted, the unmistakable sound of children, echoing through the trees. "They're here." Emma's voice trembled, her eyes wide with fear. As though summoned by her words, shapes began to materialize in the fog, thin and ethereal. They were children, their eyes wide, faces pale and devoid of color. They circled the friends, whispering indistinctly, as if calling out to be remembered. Clara's throat constricted. "We have to get out of here," she urged, but before they could move, the spectral children pointed toward the creek, their expressions sorrowful yet knowing. One child stepped forward, gesturing with a bony finger, and Clara felt an overwhelming sense of dread as a pit of loss opened within her. "Help us!" The whisper threaded through the air like a promise and a plea. "We never wanted to stay." Panic surged through Clara, and she grabbed Emma's arm, dragging her back towards the exit of the bridge. Max and Jake followed suit, the laughter growing louder and more frantic behind them, filling their ears with dread as they sprinted toward the end. The shadows seemed to chase them, the cold grasping at their backs. As they reached the edge, Clara turned to see the figures dissolve into wisps of fog, leaving only the sound of the creek and the fading echoes of their laughter in the air. They rushed down the bank and collapsed onto the ground, gasping for breath. They returned to town, shaken yet alive, the weight of the experience hanging over them like a dark cloud. It wasn't just tales warning them away from the bridge, it was a reminder of those lost. Lifting her gaze to the haunted bridge standing forlorn in the moonlight, Clara understood. The bridge wasn't a ghost, it was a passage for the restless, and it had claimed more than just a few adventurous souls. In the end, they never spoke of that night again, but the memories of the whispers, the laughter, and the lost would forever echo in the depths of their minds, a haunting reminder of what lay within the shadows of Willow Creek Bridge.